Hi squad. Um, wow, you guys did it. You guys just finished the Camino, either already in Morocco or about to go to Morocco. And I just want to say that I am so proud of each and every one of you. Can't even imagine, haven't done the Camino myself. I've heard so many things of it's hard, and you guys have faced a lot of challenges head on and have done an amazing job. I hope you guys feel relieved. I hope you feel proud of yourselves, and I hope you really got to enjoy that time as well as understand the difficulties that it was as well. I also just wanted to share a few things that's been put on my heart for you guys, including your time on the Camino, but also post Camino, and also for this last month for Morocco, and kind of vision for where we're going to finish for this last month of the race. So, one thing I also wanted to tell you guys about the Camino was you have been heard. I have heard some feedback about, the budget was hard, better preparation. A lot of that feedback is good and valid. And so some things that I did want to touch on is like what the biggest thing that I look back was that taking ownership of me, of giving too much freedom where a lot of, I think, the issues that we had also was coming from being too ambitious of what you guys could do in that space and time, and giving too much freedom to have you guys do whatever part of the Camino that you guys wanted to do. As far as other squads, or even how we even ended up doing the Camino, we ended up doing the Camino because teams wanted to, and that they told us, they're like, hey, we can do it, and we will prove to you that we can do it. Because really, like the way that we operate and the budget wise, world race teams, we can't afford to go to Europe. And that's kind of how we operated. Europe was off limits. And then some teams were like, hey, we want to try to do it, and we think we can do it. So we have actually, just to kind of give you guys some background, some comparisons, we have had multiple squads do the Camino successfully in budget on €10. I know, it's probably going to make some of you mad, but that is also what we have seen. But the big thing difference of what also seeing your experience and their experience is that they did a very certain portion of the Camino that was doable from other things that you guys coming from France, we haven't had people do that. And like also I think the end of the Camino is more expensive. So certain section that people have been doing where that is doable. You guys kind of were the ones to show that actually other parts of the Camino was very difficult as well. We have had a squad. You guys actually had the second most largest budget for the Camino that we've ever had. We had one squad had €15, and they actually ended the Camino under budget. So yes, it was hard. Is it feasible to do the Camino? Yes, it is, but I think now we know we need to put restriction on how that looks and how much. I'm taking ownership of a lot of that too. I think also some ambitious planning on our team's part too. Also take some ownership as well, as that we were too ambitious to do too much. And honestly, I've never had a team try to, like I've been told, squads have not tried to do the whole thing as well. So really, I think a lot of that is a lot of location, a lot of too ambitious. And from where I'm coming from is like, all right, I learned a lot. We all learned a lot on the squad, and also from adventures to going forward. A lot of things could have been done to better prepare. And then also just for our squad going forward, we are over budget because of Spain. Most of it due to too much traveling, which again, like I take ownership, should have put some restriction on how much travel you guys could have done within Spain. But how I'm moving forward is like, you know what, I trust God. I trust God that everything's going to be okay with our squad's budget, but also just in general, when adventures and missions is over budget on squads, like I trust the Lord, choosing joy and choosing trust that God's going to take care of it and that it'll be okay. So, talking about choosing joy, I have read a lot of your journey markers, even that just come in the last few days, and really have been uplifted to see a lot of people choosing joy and choosing perspective to push through all the pain, all the difficulties, and also have talked a lot about what God has taught them, like through that, and it has been so exciting to read. Also I've heard some people, like maybe you're not there yet. Maybe you're like, this has been frustrating and hard, and I'm just gonna sit in it for a little bit. I'm not ready yet to kind of see all that God was doing with them as well. Something I felt to revisit was our little tree. Doo-doo-doo. Also realizing, boys, I did this at the women's retreat, so I don't know if I ever taught this to you. And so this tree goes is that here's the external circumstances is like up here in the leaves, and like below it in the trunk is our emotions, our responses to like what the external circumstances. And what a lot of people say is like, oh, my response is because of these hard external circumstances. But as we know, like how the tree grows is from actually here in the roots. And so what really is telling us why we are responding this way cannot be the external circumstances, but are these internal things within ourselves. Roots, so whether it's lies that we believe, any unforgiveness, bitterness, past events, or unrepented sin, that like the under the surface things is actually what tells us why we are responding the way we are, not these external circumstances. The only thing that we can't really control any of these things, external circumstances, but we can control our responses and our reactions to them. And so that's kind of like where we're focusing on, like here, or what I want you guys to draw your focus is on here. It's like, wow, yes, that was hard. A lot of things could have been better. How was my responses, and what does that tell me about me and like inward? And a lot of you guys talked about that on your journey markers, and it was really cool to hear. And I think some of you still need to sit with the Lord and ask him to reveal the things that are going on deeper inward of you, that like kind of is why your frustrations and responses to some of the things that were really hard in the Camino, whether that was to budget or just walking dynamics, all of the jazz. Like, what does that tell you about you? And so, honestly, I didn't know the Camino was going to be that hard. I knew it was going to be obviously physically difficult and also mentally, but even in the pose of living conditions with other racer or with a whole bunch of other people, 100 people to a bathroom, who knows, food-wise, money-wise, I didn't know it was going to be that hard, that difficult or challenging, but God knew that that was what your Camino experience was going to look like. And the Camino is and supposed to be different for every person. So what I want you guys to individually ask the Lord on your own time is, what did God have and what did he use it for you? What did he do during that time? How did he use it for your growth and his glory? And how will he continue to use that experience in your life for your future? Because he's going to use that experience not just now to teach you things, but like in later on in your life, he's going to be teaching and using this Camino experience for further growth and further understanding for you in your life. One of my biggest things that I hope you guys took away from that Camino is that you can do hard things, not just physically, but in life. And actually, yesterday in our mentor meeting, Bill Swan was speaking, and he started with, I want you guys to think of when you physically pushed yourself. Like Bill does a lot of endurance sports, like Ironman type things. And so he was having us think, like, when did we last physically push ourselves? And of course, I can't help but immediately think about you guys who just recently just physically pushed yourself. And then also like me reflecting on myself, it's like, man, I haven't physically pushed myself in a while. And it was something I realized I wanted to do. And something that Bill, he started with that, but then continued with that when we physically push ourselves, we realize that we can do a lot more than we think. And then he started correlating that with, that's physically, we can do a lot. We realize we can do a lot more than we think. But he also started going with that's how it is for other parts of areas of our life, whether it's mentally, emotionally, relationally, spiritually, learning that same principle in the physical and being like, I can do a lot more than I think in these other areas too, especially like Christ in us, that we can do and that we have and possess a lot more spiritually than we think we can. And so Bill kind of had started that and used it to help us kind of reflect of some of the giftings that God has given us. And I'm not just talking about spiritual gifts or like what we see in 1 Corinthians 12, but even just like what we're good at, like what we see that God has given us. And to just kind of like see that we have more, and God has equipped us more than we realize. So some of the things that I was thinking about is, beyond the 1 Corinthians 12 is, creative problem solving and just, different areas of this and some vision. And so, So as he was saying that, I was seeing how God is going to use that for you, and that he's going to desire for us to also reflect, okay, so we learned that we could do a lot more than we thought physically, and like, what else, Lord, are you telling us that we have in us, that you have put in us, that we can do? And how can we also empower others around us, power our team to be like, hey, there's a lot more in you than you are seeing and thinking, and you can do a lot more. So this is going to take us kind of like moving forward. So one, I want you guys to seek that in each other and empower and encourage and challenge each other, and by like telling each other like, hey, I see this in you, this, you have this and you are good at that, and just really uplifting each other in that way, in that area of encouragement, empowerment. And then also I asked the Lord, I was like, okay, God, like, what is this next month gonna look like? Like, what is on my heart for them? What is on your heart? And I heard the word victory lap. That this month 11 is a victory lap. That you guys have actually like pushed through and like worked hard, as in, you know, month 10 was like super hard. So that's kind of maybe like the last sprint of, but this next month is a victory lap of celebration, of excitement, of feeling like, oh my goodness, we did it, we have won the race, and it's a victory lap. So I want this month to be about celebrating that all that this year has held, and then what was put in my heart was thankfulness and gratitude. And so even if, or I want to encourage you guys, like even just if it's weekly as teams getting together and being like, all right, thankfulness and gratitude, what are we celebrating? What's our victory, you know, that we're going to be celebrating this week or this past week? Like what is the thankfulness and gratitude? So for some themes, victory lap, thankfulness, gratitude. And then the next thing that came was just love. And I obviously, that's important. It's a theme all year long and should be the rest of your life. But just really want to encourage you guys to love God like crazy, love each other like crazy, love your hosts like crazy, and just finish strong. Keep going, choose in, start month 11 like as if it was month 1. With excitement, with energy, even though, yes, you are physically tired and there's been a lot this year, but allow that to make you stronger, and allow that to, that even despite that, like God's can give you that energy and to sustain you for full engagement for month 11. Some of our feedback from hosts have been the extreme difference of a month 10 or 11 team to like a month 1 and 2 team. That month 1 and 2 comes ready to go, and then month 11 and month 10 the teams can be checked out and don't want to do anything. And so we don't want to leave that impression with the hosts we have in Morocco. We do have hosts. I'm not really sure what that's going to look like for each team. Probably be different, but what I want us to know is that like us coming into telling ourselves like, no, we won't have that, and we are going to have a victory lap, have it be enjoyable, have it be a time of peace and of rest and of reflection and of thankfulness. So some things I want you guys, two questions I want you guys to answer as teams for this next month is, how can we make this last month meaningful, and how can we give this month our all? So yeah, I think I will ask your like team leaders to, or someone to send it to me, because I do want you guys to ask those questions and to kind of come together and rally each other up for this last victory lap. And yeah, you guys, Morocco is awesome, amazing country. Just to realize that most people that you are even going to just pass on the street probably have never had someone pray for them in their entire life. And just know that there is a plethora of opportunity for kingdom work and kingdom impact in that country. And that if you seek it, like, you will find it. You will seek it. If you seek it, you will find it. Why? Because God is there. God is working everywhere around us. He's working everywhere you go in Morocco, and if we are seeking it, and we will find it there. So even outside of whatever I'm not sure what that will look like for your host, but just know that there's a plethora of engagement out there, and you guys have the energy, and you guys have the ability and the drive to really have month 11 be amazing, and have it be actually felt just a victory lap of all that has happened, all that has gone on this whole last year. So you guys, again, I love you. You guys have done so great, and I am so proud of all of your responses and all of what's going on through the Camino and into month 11, and I'm excited to connect and celebrate this year and this victory lap of a month with you guys in Marrakesh, Morocco. All right, love you. Mwah! Praying for you guys. Bye.